All right, so today we are going to do a face, and we are going to draw it without using a ruler. Most of the time, people use a ruler because your face is very well measured out, and we need to make sure everything's in the correct spot. So we're going to use our fingers, though, as our ruler, and hopefully everything will just come together. All right, not hopefully, it will, but we're going to use our fingers and then we're going to go from there. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to draw our head shape. We want to make sure there's enough room to have neck and shoulders on here. So what I typically say is to draw like an upside down egg, and when I do that, I'm going to do it, move my hand in a good motion here. And then once I feel like I've got a good shape down, I'm going to come in here and sort of draw my head. So this part got a little bit straighter here, so I'm going to come here and bring it around. It's okay if your head shape is not perfect, especially the top of your head, because all of this is going to be covered with hair. So if your top of your head's flat or wonky or whatever, don't worry about it. If you want it, you can get it to be perfect. It doesn't have to be super perfect. But we're going to go from there. So then you have this shape. Not everyone has this jaw line here. So the next step would be to just erase a little bit of the bottom of your face here and come in and make your jawline. Now remember, this is not going to look like you because we are not looking in a mirror. This is just a practice. So you can pick whatever facial features you want, whatever eye shape, nose shape, mouth, those kinds of things. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to make this a little bit more of a square jawline here instead of such a round one. Like that. You want a little bit of a chin, like I'm doing it a little bit too square. So it goes down a little bit here. And that's good for now. Again, just a practice, so it's not perfect, but we've got it here. Okay, so the next thing we need to do, we need to split our face in half. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your fingers, and most of the time we'll be using our thumb and our pointer finger. And we're going to go try to find like midway. So our thumb goes down to our chin and try to find midway point. And I usually just put my pencil there and then keep my fingers the same width and then make a little line. And then draw lightly, because eventually you would erase these lines. All right, so I did halfway, halfway. Now this line isn't perfectly straight, and that's okay, not a big deal. I do want to thin it up. I'm very sketchy, so I have to go back and thin up my lines because I don't want thick lines when we start to draw everything. We need to do that again this way. So I like to turn my paper. I'm going to take it, go from the outside of the head to the middle. This looks like the middle here. So again, put my pencil there as my marker. Don't move my fingers. Double check. Move my pencil a little bit. There we go. So I had to move my pencil a little bit. And then we're going to draw a line going down across the face like that. So now you have crosshairs on your face. It's really important, especially this middle line. This is going to determine every other facial feature from here on out. The middle line is just a guideline. So it just tells us, like, are we having things on the correct side? Does the nose look like where it's supposed to be? Like those kinds of things. So the middle line isn't as important. It's just really our guideline for where we're going to go from there. All right, now here is the hardest part, I think, is measuring. So when we draw a face, you technically have 5 spaces for eyes across your face. So we need to measure out those 5 spaces. And this can be a little hard. I'm going to turn my paper sideways again just because it's easier for my hands to move that way. So we need 5 spaces. So one here, one in the middle, one here, and one here. Look like those spaces were too big. So again, this is going to be a lot of trial and error. Sometimes I get it right the first time, sometimes I don't. I like to start in the middle, and I'm going to do a little mark here and a little mark here, and then I'll move. Make sure I always double check because sometimes your fingers move. All right, so that looks good on that side. Let's double check on this side. Okay, so it looks like I got it right. So now I have 1 space, 2 space, 3 space. Remember, the middle line is just for other things. 3 space, 4 space, 5 space. All right, so I have 5 spots for my eyes. This may take you a couple different tries, and it's okay. All right, so if you need to stop, try it out a couple different times, no big deal. Now we're gonna draw some of our facial features. So we are gonna draw our eyes. I always start on the inside here and do our little tear duct. We have a tear duct on the inside, so I do a little tear duct. And remember, this is not supposed to look like you, so you can do any eye shape. This line goes through the middle of your eyes. So I'm gonna bring it up and bring it down, all right? And then I'm gonna bring it here and just bring it across. I'm gonna try to make this the same. And then I'm going to do the bottom part here. So it does not look exactly the same. So I'm going to try to figure this out here. I need to make this a little bit there. And that looks better right there. I'm going to then do the inside of our eyes. So when we have the inside part, we have a couple different areas. We've got our tear duct here, so I just come in and do a little bit of a line on here because that's where our tear duct, or that pink part that's on the inside of your eyes. And then we have our iris, which is the colored part. And our iris, when we look at our iris, when we look straight, you don't see any white on the top or the bottom, and you see most of the bottom area. So when we do this, we're going to draw a circle, but we're not going to draw the whole circle. Draw the circle like that. This is a little too dark on that side. Draw the circle like this, right? So I'm going to come in and do it on this side as well. The iris needs to be big enough that there's not too much white on each side. After you do that, then you're going to draw your pupil, and it's a little bit higher up. And then you're gonna make sure you have a highlight in your eye. You can color in your pupil. Right now, we're not gonna shade anything in because we don't need to at this point in time. So make sure you have a highlight in your eye to make sure it makes you look like you're alive. It also adds a little depth to it. Color in your pupils. All right, so that's for the inside of the eye. That's all we need to do. Then what we're gonna do is our eyelid. So your eyelid does not connect to the corners of your eye. Your eyelid sort of just floats on top. And we always have to look and see how much eyelid do you actually see. Like if you were to look at my eyes, I have a lot of eyelid showing, but if you were to look at like my sister's eyes, she does not. So it really just depends, but you're gonna do this like line on top here, and I'm making it so that there's not a ton of eyelid here. Like that, okay? So it's just like this floating line. It does not connect. I know it looks like it does, but it does not connect to anything because eventually we would erase these lines here. Now we're gonna do eyebrows. Now I will say I have a hard time with eyebrows, making them look like exactly the same. Our eyebrows start in the middle and they go out to the side here. So a little bit of like a 45-degree angle off of your line here. So what you are going to do, what I like to do anyway, is very lightly, and it's sort of, if you have your eyelids too high, you're gonna look like you're really surprised. If you have it too low, you're gonna look like you're angry. So we are going to just sort of draw a line. I don't know if I like that shape. I'm gonna draw a line here. And I'm gonna try to mimic that line on this side. This is my hardest part. So again, try to look and see where the 45-degree angle is. And it does go past your eye. Your eyebrows do go past there. All right, so that is not our eyebrow. We did not just draw lines on our faces. We need to come in here and do some hair. So when you do hair, your hair in the middle of like in here, it goes up. You guys can, if you don't trust me, you can look in the mirror. So it starts up and then eventually it starts to lay down. So again, if you need to turn your paper, you can go ahead. A lot of times your eyebrows do get thinner as they go out towards the side. Boys are going to have a little bit of a thicker eyebrow because they have more testosterone in their body. And then girls are going to have a little bit of a thinner eyebrow. Plus, more than likely, the girls are shaping their eyebrows. All right, so there's our eyes right there. And that's all you're gonna do for your eyes. You don't have to do anything else. No eyelashes. I typically save eyelashes for after we're done shading because when we shade, we'll cover them up. So eyelashes can be later. What we're gonna do now is our nose. Things should go a little bit faster from here because the eyes are super, super important. You want them to look like you. You want them to be the right shape. Like I can tell this eye shape is different from this, but it's just a practice, so we're gonna move on. Now we're gonna do our nose. Your nose is halfway between your eye line and your chin. So again, we're gonna bring our handy dandy fingers out. We're gonna try to get it halfway, put our pencil there. Don't move our fingers. Let's test that out again. And do here. So here is my nose, and I don't have to go all the way across. You can just go here. And then your nose comes down from the inside of your eyes. Inside of your eyes, it comes down. So we do little dashed lines to show us that's where our nose is going to go. Now, what I don't want to see is I don't want to see anybody drawing lines going up from their nose. Your nose is all shading. So realistically, the only thing you have to draw is your nostrils. That's it. Just your nostrils. So we're going to focus on our outside nostrils first. So they come down and they rest on the line. They meet the outside of our dashed line. Okay, I can tell already. You can tell that my center line is not exactly centered, or I didn't do this. So that's why the center line is sort of, and it's because I didn't use a ruler, right? So I can just sort of come back in and fix it to make it a little bit more in the center. That's much better. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the inside nostrils. So the inside nostrils don't start way out here. They start in the middle here, and they're going to come out to the side, and they're going to come down. Okay, so coming in, coming out to the side, and coming down. All right, the other thing is your nose right here drops below the nose line just a little bit, and that's what's going to make it look more three-dimensional. Okay, so your nose line drops below that, and that's all you're going to do for your nose, because the rest of this is all shading. You don't need to do that right now or worry about it right now. That's it. Lips. Your lips, again, we're going to do halfway again. So we're going to go from your nose line to your chin. So take our fingers out and our pencil, try to get halfway. I think I need to make it a little bit less. There we go. So do halfway, like that. Your outside of your lips are in between your iris and the edge of your eye. It has to be, I can't tell you how many times people make their lips smaller than their nose, and that's just silly. But it has to be in between here. And typically I have it a little bit more towards the inside of the eye. So I'll do dotted lines down in between my iris and the corner of my eye, and I'll just do those down so that I know how wide my lips need to be. From here, I typically start with the upper lip, and when we do that, we start with I think it's called the Cupid's bow. It's in the middle, that little like divot in the top lip, and I start there. It's directly underneath your nose. So I start where there's space in between, and I do my little, and some people's Cupid's bow is more pointy, some people is not there very often, very much. So you really just have to look and see what the shape of your lips are. After I do that, I bring down my upper lip down here. Try to make it sort of even. I can tell this side is a little bit more curved, and I have a hard time. Sometimes I make one side more curvy than the other. And then from here, bring my my lips down. And then we do our middle line. So the line in the middle is going to determine how thick or thin our lips are. Typically, your bottom lip is a little bit thicker than your upper lip. Sometimes they're the same. Sometimes your upper lip is really, really thin. And again, it has a little bit more of a curve to it. It's not straight. So just a tiny bit of a curve, and there's your lips. So pretty easy. Now we're going to move on to ears. Ears go from your eye line to your nose line. So if you need to bring it out a little bit or just make a little bit mark from where your nose line is, you can do that. Good thing, well, one thing about ears is you need to make sure that they don't look like ginormous. So they start here at your eye line, they go up a little bit, and they come down. Like that. Pretty easy. Up, come down. So again, up, come down. Now the inside part is where it gets a little crazy. So for right now, you just do a little bit of a line here, and then you've got this part here. All right, so I usually just do those 3 lines. So like a question mark in here, like a half circle, and then another little line down at the bottom. And that's all you're gonna do for your ears. We'll shade them in a little bit more when we get there, and they'll look more realistic. Now your neck, please don't ever do a popsicle neck like that. There is no way that your neck would be able to hold up your beautiful head if it was that skinny. So your neck really comes from your ears, but if you were to draw your neck like this, you'd look like a WWE wrestler. So we're not going to do that either. We're going to bring it in a little bit. So I typically say where your mouth, where like your lips meet here, that's where you're going to start your neck and go out. Start your neck and go out. Now your neck is not a box. It doesn't go like this. So you have to make sure you have a nice curve. We're going to do a curve. And if your shoulders, like mine, go off the page, that's okay. Because again, your shoulders should be, like if I were to put my hand here and go up and down, I shouldn't be hitting my face on the edge of my shoulders. So you have to make sure you have good, strong, sturdy shoulders. Then you can put a shirt on. There you go. Hair. All right, so I'm gonna do one side boy hair and one side girl hair just so that you can see the difference. So hair starts halfway between your eye line and the top of your head. So again, this is just gonna be a general line, sort of like our middle line. I don't have to put a line all the way across. It's just letting me know how big my forehead is and where all of my hair is. If this looks a little too small, then bring it up a little bit, but don't, like to me, that looked like it needed a little bit more forehead. Don't bring it all the way up here. You'll look like you have a receding hairline and you're balding, which you are not. So then depending on where your part is, that's where your hair is going to go. So I'm going to talk about girl hair first. So a lot of times girls will part it in the middle or part it to the side. So wherever you part it, make sure you draw that line first. I'm going to do it in the middle because I'm doing half and half right now. So when you do your hair, I'm going to do just sort of like a bob. When you do your hair, it comes around and maybe it covers your ear, right? Maybe it covers your ear. Maybe it's tucked behind your ear. There's a lot of different styles that you can do. I'm going to do this one tucked behind the ear so that you can just see what that looks like. So if my hair is tucked behind my ear, it's typically going to be shaped like that because it's coming down and then getting tucked, and it's tucking behind. And then remember, the top of your head is just a guideline. If it's wonky or straight, we can fix it because our hair is going to go on top. So I like to come in here. And I'm going to do a little bit over my ear. I'm going to have some of my ear showing. And because my hair is tucked behind my ear, all of my hair is going to be coming from behind my ear, right? And don't forget to do hair here. It's not like all of a sudden your hair disappears. And your hair is not perfect, so it's not going to be all the same length. Maybe there's a straggler out here. But you're just going to do your hair in the direction that it grows. And again, it's okay if it's not perfect because we're going to do some shading after this. So this is all going to just get tucked behind my ear, and this hair can come on top a little bit more. So right now there's a bunch of white here. No big deal. We'll fix that when we shade. But that would be hair on that side. As for boy hair, your hair is going to be like, I could do long strokes here because the hair was longer. Now, some of you may have a like comb over type thing where you do have long strokes, but a lot of times you do have a little bit of little on the side. I guess it's not boy hair and girl hair. It's just long hair and short hair. Because I know a lot of girls that have short hair, a lot of boys who have long hair. So right now I'm going to do like a little bit of faux hawk just to show you how you can style it. So when we do a faux hawk, it comes from the outside here and comes up. And from here, and maybe your faux hawk's longer. I don't know. Depends on how long your hair is. And then from here, your hair is typically going to come down the side of your head. And you're going to do littler strokes because your hair is probably shorter if you've got a faux hawk going on. But realistically, you just draw your hair how you see it, how it grows or how it's styled. And typically we have a little bit of hair in front here. Even if girls have shorter hair, there's usually a little bit of hair in front of your ears or sideburn area here. And there, that is how you draw a face without a ruler. And everything's in proportion, and everything looks how it's supposed to. From here on out, you would then erase all the lines you don't need, so all your dotted lines, all your crisscross lines, and then you would be able to start shading. But for right now, you got a face.